Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I am the Ink Northerner and this is my VR to Sai over at Ginger Hippy Gaming 42. Sai put out a challenge called the Video Shop Challenge, where essentially you have to imagine that you were back being as a child. You'd just been to the video shop with your parents to select a film or select a game in this instance. And that game is going to be the only game that you can play for the 24-hour period that you have it before you take it back. Now, I didn't really have this experience as such. We used to have a mobile video delivery man that used to come round, so I got my films that way, but they didn't do games. But that said, I could still put myself in that spot with the games as well. So the idea was you were to select it on box art or what you thought the game was going to be like. What Eddie over at Rollercore suggested was that we went onto a quick stream where we played the infamous shelf game to select that game. So basically what happened was we would select the system, count how many shelves we've got of that system and rows and so on and so forth. On the stream was Nath, Retro1, Jim at Corbana, Big Game Owl, Eddie and myself. Mark, Judge / Gaming, was originally coming on, but he had to do something else. So it got round to my my turn, and Jim was picking for me. Jim is a big PS1 collector, so for me he went with that, and then I have sort of 4 rows of PS1 games, and then some looser games that aren't in a row, so I went with 5 in the end, basically just so that it gave a few more choices. Jim selected row 2 and game 3, and the game that I got was Hercules, or a Disney action game featuring Hercules. So what were my thoughts on the game? Well, when I first got it, would I have selected it at the video store? Probably, to be fair. There's only 4 images on the back of the game itself. It did look very much like it was a kind of Crash Bandicoot style game from the box art. So yeah, I probably could have seen myself selecting this. Now, what did I think when I put it in? So first I had to set my PlayStation 1 back up because I've not had it set up for a while. I've been trying. I need to go. Well, IKEA's open soon, so I need to go and get the dividing shelves, along with being able to have a haircut, so I can stop looking like a hobo. So I set the PS1 back up, which is probably the most the most positive thing to come from this, because I really want to start getting into some more of those games. I just wanted to get the room sorted fully. There's a couple of boxes that I'm surrounded by that I need to get rid of, and then all the games I've reorganised and stuff. But yeah, so enough of my games room. Let's talk about the game. So it's a sort of puzzle platformer, as you can see from the video, wherever I put it. I don't know where I'm going to put it. You can see that it's sort of a puzzle platformer set in the world of Hercules. Now, it is very, very slow in terms of the response, but the PlayStation is such an old console, it's understandable that it's kind of slow and clunky. The first thing that got me with it was it took me about half an hour, 40 minutes to do the first level, purely because it's not very clear what you've got to be doing. I didn't read the manual. Now I know older games the manual is put there for you to read, but I didn't actually read the manual. So I went into it blind. I thought, it's a puzzle platformer, it should be straightforward. So yeah, the first took me a while to work out. Sort of, you got to pick up this big boulder and drop it to get up the upper cliff that I couldn't get up. But once I worked that out and it gave me that, you know, the sense of the rest of the game, it took me, I think, about 3 hours to complete my first playthrough of it. That was on the easiest setting with the most lives. I then upped the difficulty to the medium setting. Again, I got through it dying a couple of times this time, but I still got through it in maybe 3.5 hours. So it's a relatively short game, I would say. What I did do then was, as it was Saturday night, I just had a few beers and watched Joe Slasher Gaming's stream with the bootleggers, and then went back to it. So I put it on the Herculean difficulty, and it becomes pretty difficult. You know, it's not so easy to beat the bosses and stuff, but it's still playable, and I still managed to get through it. Yes, it was. Yes, there were a couple of controller throwing moments, but even on its highest difficulty setting, it wasn't too hard. At least I didn't think. The hardest bits for me were there's some running levels where you're running forward like you would do on Crash. You've got to avoid things. They were probably about the hardest for me, because there were certain things you couldn't avoid that I could see, or if you could, you needed some skill to avoid them. But now I reflect on it, and I've taken it back to the video shop. I did enjoy it. It was a good game. It was interesting, an interesting change of pace, shall we say. You know, I appreciated the art style, and it's Disney after all. And there's some after every few levels there's a full FMV cutscene from the film, so you get to hear the voice acting. You know, Danny DeVito and James Wood are the two big actors that I can remember that were in it. Danny DeVito playing the little he's not a centaur, what are they called? I can't remember the name of the character. He's half goat, half man, and James Wood played Hades. So yeah, all in all, it was a good game. It's fun to play. There's a couple of, the easiest boss fight for me was the Hydra. You just slash at it and it cuts the heads off, and then you've got to get it down. There was a couple of boss fights that were a bit harder, but all in all, it is a good game. If people haven't played it, or you've got it in your collection and you've not played it, I would suggest having a go. It's worthwhile once you get into it and once you work it out. But yeah, it's good. I definitely would. I'm glad I played it. I'm glad I own it. To be fair, a lot of people have said that it's sort of a good game. I can attest that it is a good game now. That's really fun to play. There are some, like I say, difficult puzzle bits in it if you don't work it out. And each level you've got to collect, or you don't have to collect it, but you to try and get the 100%, you've got to try and collect Hercules in individual letters. Now I managed it on 2 of the levels on the easy, but there were a few of the levels where I couldn't work out where certain letters were and things like that. All in all, good game. Glad it's got me to set my PlayStation 1 back up. I'm going to go through some more of the PS1 stuff. But yeah, definitely this is a great concept from Sai. Also on that stream, I completely forgot, Sai actually came on and selected a new game for himself, so I'm looking forward to seeing his review of that game as well. But yeah, I've seen Al put his out. I'm waiting to see the rest of the guys put theirs out, but this was my quick review of it. It was a great concept from Sai. I enjoyed the game immensely. It would have been, would I have played it? Would it be the only game I would play of a night? No, I'd have completed it and then moved on. However, wanted to stick to the rules, play a single game for the 24-hour period, and that's what I've done. I can now go back to playing various different games. But yeah, good game. If you own it, play it. If not, go out and find it. All that's left for me to do is thank you for watching. Thanks Sai for putting this out. I am the Ink Northerner, and I will catch you on the next one.